Hey, good morning, everyone. Father Gonella here from St. Pat's, coming to you with our daily reflection today. And so we just celebrated Mass. What better time to continue to reflect on the passion of our Lord Jesus Christ and what he went through. And so we're going through some of the characters of the Passion. And today I just want to talk and reflect a little bit about Pontius Pilate. One of those most famous characters of the Passion, and yet one that we don't necessarily think a whole lot about. But what I want to do first is just read you a few of the verses where Pontius Pilate shows up in the Gospel. And so this is from the Gospel of John. This is the 18th chapter, starting at verse 28 to the end of the chapter. And I just want to read you these lines so we can kind of work through them and talk about them a little bit. So it says, "Then they led Jesus from the house of Caiaphas to the praetorium. It was early. They themselves did not enter the praetorium, so that they might not be defiled, but might eat the Passover. So Pilate went out to them and said, 'What accusation do you bring against this man?' They answered him, 'If this man were not an evildoer, we would not have handed him over.' Pilate said to them, 'Take him yourselves and judge him by your own law.' The Jews said to him, 'It is not lawful for us to put any man to death.' This was to fulfill the word which Jesus had spoken, to show by what death he was to die. Pilate entered the praetorium again and called Jesus and said to him, 'Are you the king of the Jews?' Jesus answered, 'Do you say this of your own accord, or did others say it to you about me?' Pilate answered, 'Am I a Jew? Your own nation and chief priests have handed you over to me. What have you done?' Jesus answered, 'My kingship is not of this world. If my kingship were of this world, my servants would fight, that I might not be handed over to the Jews. But my kingship is not of this world.' Pilate said to him, 'So you are a king?' Jesus answered, 'You say that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I have come into the world, to bear witness to the truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice.' Pilate said to him, 'What is truth?' After he had said this, he went out to the Jews again and told them, 'I find no crime in him. But you have a custom that I should release one man for you at the Passover. Will you have me release for you the king of the Jews?' They cried out again, 'Not this man, but Barabbas.' Now Barabbas was a robber." So these lines from the Passion narrative of St. John give us a great insight into kind of the mindset of Pontius Pilate and what his sin actually is. Because at first it might not seem like Pilate was doing that much wrong. You know, he's not a Jew, he's a Roman, and he's kind of the governor of that place. He's the one watching over the Jews, as it were, on behalf of the Roman Empire. And his job is to basically keep the peace. He's the one that's there just to make sure that things don't get out of hand. And so from one perspective, we can see why he does what he does. You know, he doesn't find a crime in Jesus, yet he's willing to let the Jews take him and kill him just to keep the peace. He goes along to get along, as it were. But I think what Pontius Pilate's sin really is in this situation is that he confronts the truth, or he encounters the truth, Jesus Christ himself, who is the truth, and he comes to bear witness to the truth, as he says, but he doesn't let the truth change his life, or he doesn't act according to the truth after encountering it. So in other words, Jesus Christ is God himself. He is the fulfillment of everything that we desire. Pontius Pilate encounters him truly, and yet still doesn't change his life. How tempting that is for us as well. You know, we can encounter the truth of Jesus Christ and who he is and his church and what the church teaches us, but sometimes it's so tempting to not change our lives, to act according to the gospel message. It's so much easier sometimes for us to say, you know what, I'll believe what I want to believe, but everybody else out there, you can believe what you want to believe, and that's okay. I'm okay, you're okay. That's a huge temptation these days. This idea of a moral relativism where we can all believe what we want and that's okay. kind of we get to do our own thing and you do your own thing and everyone will be fine. But brothers and sisters, that's not what Jesus Christ calls us to. That's what Pontius Pilate tried to do in that passion narrative. He tried to say, you know what, I'm not part of this. I don't want to be a part of this. You guys do your own thing. We'll all get along. But we see how that worked out. It led to the worst single event that's ever happened. God himself dying on the cross. Our job, rather, brothers and sisters, is to encounter the truth, to encounter Jesus Christ truly, and then to give that truth, to live out that truth, to let that truth affect every part of our lives. Because when we can do that, it's then that we will be fulfilling the command that Jesus has given us. You know, at the end of the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus doesn't say to his apostles, okay guys, I'm leaving now, and live out your faith your own selves, but keep it private. He doesn't say that. He says, go out, baptize all nations, tell them about me, help them to live this gospel way of life that I have given you. And that's our job as well. When we encounter Jesus Christ, we're not meant to keep it to ourselves. We're not meant to be private about it. We're meant to spread that truth, to bear witness to the truth, as Jesus Christ said that he came to do. And a big part of that is simply by the way that we live. You know, we don't always have to go out and preach and teach. You know, maybe it's difficult. Maybe you don't feel like you know enough to be able to stand up for the faith or something like that. But the point is that at least we would be living in such a way that draws other people closer to Jesus Christ. At least we can live out the gospel message. At least we can love God above all things. At least we can love our neighbors as ourselves, to follow the 10 commandments, to live out the morality that the church gives us. And if we're doing these things, we're going to be a huge witness to the people around us, and we're going to be well on our way to bearing witness to the truth and to not abandoning Jesus Christ, but rather being with him, even if it means carrying a cross with him. So let's continue to do our best to stay connected to our Lord Jesus Christ at all times, brothers and sisters. Let's make sure we're praying. Let's make sure we spend time in the presence of Jesus when we can. Let's make sure to celebrate the sacraments when we can. I know it's difficult now, but when things go back to normal, make the sacraments the center of your life, because that's where we receive the strength. That's where we encounter Jesus most truly, is in those sacraments, and we're able to receive that grace, that love, and give that love to the people around us. So let's not be like Pontius Pilate and deny the truth, deny Jesus Christ, but rather let's encounter Jesus Christ truly and witness to his truth in the world. And when we do that, we'll be glorifying him in all that we do, and we'll be on our way to enjoying the kingdom with him. All right. So brothers and sisters, keep praying for us, please. The priests here will keep praying for you as well. And we hope to see you soon. All right. God bless. Bye-bye.